Jim, thank you for being with us. Let's start at the beginning. What exactly is LANDSAT?
LANDSAT is the granddaddy of Earth-observing satellite programs. It's a 40-year-long program that's currently managed in a partnership between NASA and the U.S. Geological Survey. This program has launched a series of 7 satellites. Each of those satellites orbits the Earth, collecting images of the global land surface. As it orbits the Earth, the entire Earth comes within view of its instruments at least once every 16 days for each satellite.
So I know that I can go to Google Maps or another source online and get a
Right.
surprisingly clear picture of what some of the environment looks like around Maryland. But you were doing this back in the 70s.
That's right. I started my career working with data from the 3rd Landsat satellite, Landsat 3, way back in 1976. And so, yeah, I've been looking at Landsat data for a long time. And fortunately, these data are archived, going all the way back to the first image from Landsat 1. They're archived by our partner, the U.S. Geological Survey, and that archive is open to everybody. Anybody can go in, search and browse those images, and the U.S. Geological Survey, upon request, will download requested images over the internet at no cost to the people asking for the images.
Well, as everybody at Goddard, being in Maryland, of course, knows, we're all concerned here with the health of the Chesapeake Bay and the impact of development. What do you see when you look at our backyard through this technology?
Well, one of the local applications of Landsat data is by the Chesapeake Bay program. They've used Landsat data to map increasing development in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, resulting in more impervious surfaces. That is, surfaces covered by pavement and parking lots and homes, and from which water flows directly into the bay and carries pollutants with it. So that impacts the water quality of the bay. The images you just saw flash by were Landsat images of Poplar Island off of Baltimore that's being reconstructed artificially in order to serve as a wildlife sanctuary.
What do you see when you look at the big picture? I mean, our planet Earth, how's it look different to your satellite than it did at the beginning of the program?
Yeah, an important characteristic of Landsat is that we can differentiate human impacts on the land surface from natural variation. And those human impacts have been dramatic. Just like a greater proportion of our population is moving into urban areas. Over 50% of our population across the world currently lives in urban areas, and so cities have been growing everywhere. This you just saw a time series of the growth of Las Vegas, Nevada, as it extended into the surrounding deserts.
Is there one particular place on the globe or one particular set of data that you think really sums up what's happening around the world? Is there, Exhibit A for how Landsat has been able to track change over the decades?
I can't nail it down to one area because dramatic changes are occurring all over. We have urban development, as we saw in Las Vegas. We have tropical rainforest deforestation. We have retreating glaciers in the polar regions and in Greenland. We have increased agriculture, increased irrigation across our own Midwest. So no, I can't nail it down to one. It's just we are fortunately with this system able to see everywhere around the world, and that allows us to observe the full scope of changes that are occurring.
We just saw those artificial islands pop up off Dubai. That was pretty cool.
Right.
You have a new satellite going up in January. How do the capabilities compare to what you have now and even what you had in the beginning?
Yeah, I'm very excited. That's the mission I work on. the satellite system and its sensors will take advantage of some advanced technologies to improve those the performance of those sensors with when compared to the earlier Landsat satellites. However, the data that will be collected will be comparable and compatible with the data from those earlier satellites, so we can continue to observe changes going back to the 1970s and on forward through the life of this satellite mission that will launch on February 13th now, 2013. Excuse me, February 11th, 2013.
Does this, the totality of what you see, make you pessimistic at all when you see the acceleration of change and perhaps damage in places to our environment? I mean, you probably don't see that reversing anywhere.
No, it doesn't make me pessimistic, because what we're doing is providing the information for people to use to make wise decisions. We need to use our natural resources, our land resources, in order to sustain ourselves. So we have to make some changes. Some changes have to occur. And the optimistic part is that, well, now we have some information. We know what changes are occurring, what their impacts are. Let's think about what we're doing and do it wisely. One example recently came up, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They've just ended a period of violence for many years. They finally got some stability there, and they're using Landsat data to now manage their forest resources, resources that they need desperately and yet weren't able to exploit during the wars. So, yeah, I mean, we have a growing population. We have to accommodate it. We have to do our best, and the Landsat satellites are part of a national, international strategy and infrastructure that will allow us to do our best.
And Jim, before we go, you said a lot of this material is available online?
It is. You can learn about the past, present, and future of the Landsat program at our website, www.nasa.gov/Landsat, and you can link from that site to the U.S. Geological Survey's archive of data.
All right, Jim Irons joining us from NASA Goddard. Jim, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. Glad to talk to you.